Afternoon. I'm Terry Egan, project manager with the Planning Commission. I'm here to give you an overview of the Tampa City Council single-member redistricting. Before I start, I want to acknowledge we have a representative from the City of Tampa's Attorney's Office, Marcy Hamilton, Jerry Kramer from the Supervisor of Elections, Chief of Communications, and the Supervisor of Election himself. So if you have any detailed questions, feel free. Let them go. The presentation I'm going to give you today is going to be an overview of the who, what, why of redistricting. We're not going to look at the alternatives. The alternatives will come back to you when we have the actual public hearing. There's a very strict criteria of when that has to be timed and how it has to be noticed. So why redistrict? It's required by the laws of Florida. It was incorporated into the City of Tampa's charter, and it's required every 4 years. The requirements are population change. The population change is measured as a range as a percent of the mean, and it's derived by the Planning Commission's population estimates, which we prepare every year. It's very important to understand the Planning Commission recommends and approves the redistricting. It's not a normal recommendation. You have the final say on how the redistricting occurs. The Supervisor of Election then proclaims the new districts. City of Tampa is not involved in this process. City of Tampa council people had been briefed one-on-one last week. We explained the alternatives, went over the demographics. It's also important to note that these are population estimates. They're not constructed based on persons over the age of 18 or voting registration. It's total population. We have to hold one public hearing to solicit comments. We have to maintain precinct boundaries, and the main requirement, or one of the main requirements, is it has to be compact and contiguous. Single-member districts containing the population as equal as possible. It's very important to remember we're dealing with whole precincts. So when I go out and do the outreach, a lot of times people are asking, well, why are these getting moved and not other ones? We can only move whole precincts. We can't split precincts. We can't carve anything out. So there's your 3 C's. There's the infamous gerrymandering map, which we try to, or we always stay away from. We focus on moving complete precincts, keeping the districts as compact as possible, and the districts have to be contiguous. You can't have some island, some precinct, non-contiguous floating out. So these are the existing districts. Since it's tiny on your screen, we have the map up here. And so the range, the spread of population as it currently exists, they're all fairly equal in terms of population. There's different development trends that have occurred in each of the 4 districts. But it makes it easier to do the redistricting. And a lot of times people say, you know, there's 100 plus, around 100 precincts. Which ones move into consideration? And so I put this map together. All the precincts that are grayed out are not in play. Most of North Tampa is not going to be redistricted at any time because it's constrained by the unincorporated county. Same with the southern peninsula of the City of Tampa. So if you imagine 2 x-axes, one going across Bush or Fowler, one running across Kennedy Boulevard, Platt Street, and then a y-axis along the interstate, those are where the precincts we examine to see which can be moved in. So, one other thing, we can't redistrict people out of office. So we can't do a kidnapping where we redistrict and we have 2 people, 2 incumbents, to then have to run against each other. It's very conservative the way we do it. We only adjust as little as possible, and we try to minimize any negative impacts that would hit a community. We don't want to split a neighborhood. There's the timeline. Outreach starts next Monday. It'll continue 6 outreach meetings through the end of August into September. We will be doing the analysis in late October, and then we'll be advertising the public hearing at some point to be determined. The chances are there will not be a public hearing for this in December. We want to make sure it's timed in such a way that people would have the opportunity to attend it. And once you make a recommendation, it gets transmitted to the supervisor of elections. He makes the final proclamation. And for anybody watching at home, simple URL, planhillsborough.org redistricting. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions, comments?
Any questions from